Welcome, everyone, to the very first podcast episode of Beyond the Scale. We're going to be talking about all things health, and I'm really super excited to have my first guest on today, a very special guest, Dr. Paul Battaglia. Welcome, welcome. So excited to have you.
Thank you.
Dr. Paul Battaglia is actually our family personal chiropractic physician. I have just started becoming a patient of his in the last month and a half or so, and I'm already seeing amazing results. So I'm really excited to see how he can help me in the future. I've been having debilitating migraines for more than a decade, and I'm already seeing improvement. He's the third chiropractic physician that I've seen, and he's the only one that actually did an x-ray on my neck to find out that was actually the cause of many of the migraines that I've had that are tension related and neck related. So I'm so very thankful for you, Dr. Paul, for doing that. Like I said, the other chiropractic physicians that I've seen, I thought they were doing an amazing job for me. I really love them, but they didn't actually go that extra mile to do that x-ray and find the problem to come up with an appropriate care plan for me. So my personal gratitude to you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. So for those that don't know you already, Dr. Paul Battaglia, tell us a little bit about yourself and your mission, please.
Certainly. So, first of all, I am a chiropractor and I am a Christian. So, I am the husband of my lovely wife, Dawn, whom you know, and we have five homeschooled children. And I'm just a lifelong student of health and wellness. So, our mission is to help as many families as possible achieve their full potential for strength, health, and vitality for their lifetimes.
I love that. That is a great mission. And you're definitely helping us accomplish our mission because as a homeschooling mom myself, it is hard to keep up. And obviously, running a business on top of it, I need that energy. I need those migraines to be gone. And so I am so, so very thankful for that. And that's a great mission because you're helping us accomplish our mission over here. So very excited about that. So
Right.
what makes true chiropractic unique and different?
Well, like you explained a moment ago, traditional chiropractic has done a pretty good job at getting temporary relief for things like neck pain, headaches, back pain. But overall, it's done a very poor job at correcting problems for the long term. And so the reason why is that many of the people we meet have underlying structural issues to their spine. So if there's a loss of curve in the neck or too much curve, if your spine is not straight from the front, then when the adjustments are applied, it has a very temporary effect, but it doesn't have a long lasting result and it doesn't have a corrective effect on the overall problem. So, what we do that's different is that we approach the spine from an engineering perspective. And so, just like there are normal values for everything related to health, blood pressure, temperature, heart rate, etc., there are normal values for spine measurements. So, if we look at an x ray of a healthy spine, it's going to be straight. So, that's the strongest position, it's the most stable position. If we look from the side, there's curvatures from the side. And so those function to dissipate stress on the body evenly throughout the joints of the spine. And so we're born into that position. It's been well studied and established in research. And so we can get specific postural and structural x ray measurements that we can compare to normal, and we can see where someone lines up properly or identify if someone has deviated from normal. And then based on that, we can prescribe a treatment plan which will rehabilitate the structure, bringing the abnormal back into normal alignment, sometimes with adjustments, sometimes with tractions to stretch the ligaments, sometimes with postural training exercises, but with the goal of restoring normal structure so that the adjustments hold for the long term. And so the results of that can be life changing. So there are over 70,000 chiropractors in the United States. And so this method that we're speaking about is called chiropractic biophysics, and it's a specialty. So it requires significant postgraduate training, certification, time, and investment. And most people never do those steps. And so out of all those thousands of chiropractors, there's less than 100 in the U.S. that do it. In Arizona,
Wow.
there's five. So I'm one of five in Arizona that
Wow.
have this method available. And so the thing that makes it especially unique is that once someone has completed their prescribed sessions, they'll get a new X-ray and they'll get new measurements that we can compare side by side before and after and see and measure the difference. And so people typically are happy and they feel a lot better much sooner than that. But it's very nice to see and verify the correction has occurred because then we can have full confidence that everything is as strong and stable as it should be.
Right. That's amazing. Yes, I've seen your posts showing the before and after picture with the straight neck, which actually looks very similar to my x-ray, unfortunately, right now. And I can't wait to see my new x-ray after all of my treatment. That'll be that
Yeah.
after picture. So that's really exciting. And wow, no wonder we didn't hear anything about these extra things that our chiropractors could do for us because there's only 5 in the state, you said?
Yeah, so
That's
there are
pretty incredible.
chiropractors that take x-rays, but typically what they're doing is they're looking for ruling out contraindications. So they're looking for fractures, tumors, breaks, things that shouldn't be manipulated, but that's the extent of it. So they're not looking for specific measurements that can be rehabilitated structurally. And
Very
so
interesting.
and then of course there's always a risk too manipulating without an X-ray that it could cause a problem or it could exacerbate a pre-existing problem. So so they kind of check that box, but they haven't followed it through to completion.
Wow, very fascinating. Fascinating. So, what are some of the common health challenges that you help people with?
So we tend to see a lot of people initially through the door with problems like back pain, sciatica, neck pain, headaches is very common. We see a lot of people that have suffered from an auto accident injury or slips and falls, but also sports injuries of various kinds. And then once patients understand that this isn't just for injuries and it isn't just for pain, it's for anybody who wants to be sure their spine is strong and healthy, then they tend to refer families in. And then so we also have a lot of children and a lot of young adults and people of all ages, seniors. So I've had patients as young as a couple days old, and then I've had a patient over 100 years old. So, and everybody
Wow,
in between.
that's awesome. Yeah, my boys are definitely enjoying the treatment as well, but they've also had chiropractic care since they were babies as well.
Yeah.
So why is having a healthy spine so important to our overall health and vitality?
Yeah, so overall, there's a very poor understanding of what chiropractic is in the general population, and chiropractors are at fault because they've allowed this um, explanation, this identity to be formed outside of the original tenets of chiropractic. But chiropractic is important not only to avoid pain, arthritis, disc problems, it's important for your overall health because the way your body works is that your brain is sending energy and information down through the spinal cord out through the nerves, and it brings strength, health, and life. It's bringing information and energy is flowing through the cord and nerves to bring vitality to the organs and to energize the organs. And so it's just like electricity moving through wires. So for your heart to beat, for your stomach to digest properly, for your lungs to breathe, this energy has to be flowing in constant supply. And the problem is that when the spine shifts out of place, which can happen from things like sports, falls, fender benders, postural changes, etc. But when it shifts out of place, it's like dialing a dimmer down on a electrical circuit, and then that reduces the way energy flows through to the organs. It reduces the vitality, strength, and energy that the organs are receiving from the brain, and then those organs are vulnerable to infections, malfunctions, more susceptible cancers, more prone to disease. And so chiropractic is important to avoid injuries and arthritis and all of that, but that's not the main function. The main function is to have 100% life flowing through your nervous system to your organs so we can have a long, healthy, amazing life and be more than just pain free.
Right. That is incredible. That is just fascinating to me. I loved hearing about this when I went to your dinner, for the first time. That it was really interesting to learn this. So thank you for sharing that.
And a lot of people, I think the misconception comes into play. A lot of people have never heard, or maybe they've forgotten the fact that there's millions of nerves in the body, but most of them don't feel pain or mechanical pressure for that matter. And so
Right.
that's why somebody could have a cavity and not know about it. I went for a dental cleaning in 2024 toward the end of the year, and on the X-ray they found that I had an abscess tooth. So there was no pain. I had no indication, no sensitivity, nothing.
Wow.
But I asked the dentist, well, so why is it? Why am I not feeling it? And she said, well, it's not hitting any pain fibers just at this moment. I was like, well, can I just wait and see? And she said, you can, but it could spread and you could lose some of your teeth, or it could go to
Mm,
your brain and you could die from it.
mm,
And then I didn't realize it until up to that point, but a lot of people historically have died from dental abscesses and dental problems. It was a very common cause of death until 130 years ago. And
wow.
so a week later, I'm in the dentist, in the endodontist, getting a root canal to fix a problem I didn't even know was there, even though it was progressively worsening. And so
Wow.
a lot of people don't necessarily remember, some have never heard the fact that most of the nerves don't feel pain. So between 3 and 5% of your nerve endings feel pain, and the rest of them don't. And so what that means, though, is that some people are walking around with misalignments to their spine, putting pressure on nerves, affecting the way energy flows through to their organs, and causing a disruption of their health or a disease. And if there's no pain there, they wouldn't even know. If they never checked their spine, they would have no clue that could be a cause.
Wow. That's pretty incredible.
By the time there's pain, there's already inflammation, there's already
Right.
tissue damage, it's already affecting the way energy flows to the organ, and that's really our body's way of trying to get us alert to the fact that
Right.
something's wrong and our health is being endangered.
Right. Exactly. Right. So you've been helping patients for over 25 years. What keeps you so passionate about corrective chiropractic care?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a deep sense of conviction around the fact that we're sick people as a population in America, and we're getting sicker. So when I
Right.
graduated from chiropractic college, we ranked number 27 out of 181 nations, according to the World Health Organization, on overall health outcomes. And so that seemed pretty poor to me at the time. That
Right.
seems like we should have been doing better considering the amount of doctors, hospitals, diagnostics we have. But here now, in the last 25 years, we've actually dropped down 10 more spots. So
Yeah.
it's not getting better, it's getting worse. And so it kind of breaks my heart to see all
Right.
these people walking around sick that may not need to be. And they have never heard these things that we're talking about now.
Right. Right. Yeah, that definitely drives my passion as well. Just seeing the pain of others. It just makes me want to scream and help them. Like, here, come here. Here's a life raft. Let me help you.
Yeah.
So, what can individuals and families expect when they come to True Chiropractic for the first time?
Yeah, so when someone comes in for the first day, we'll introduce ourselves, we'll give them a tour, we'll collect some background information, and then we'll just have a conversation. So it kind of starts with understanding what someone's health challenges are, what their health goals are, and then we check spine for alignment, we check posture, range of motion, and if appropriate, we'll get x-rays so we can obtain the specific measurements that we need to assess the integrity of the spine. And then we set up a time as soon as possible, which is typically later the same day or the next. And then we go over the results. We could show them where they're at, where things look good, and where things might not, and then talk about some options and make some suggestions based on those findings.
Perfect. Right. I had such a great experience. Our first appointment, I was a little bit nervous because I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And you put us at ease right away. And I loved how you were, with the children and, just answering their questions, even when they had them, and just very patient. And I really appreciate that. You spent that extra time with us to answer the questions that we had. And so I really appreciate that. I definitely had a great experience.
Thank you.
So speaking of children, children need chiropractic care too. How do you feel about that?
Well, so a lot of problems that adults have didn't actually begin as an adult. So sometimes they have with a car accident, a fall, something like that. But there are many people where their problems started young and they just never got addressed. So things like sports injuries, fall off a bicycle, learning to walk, and even up to the birth process. So if there's a difficult labor and delivery where a doctor had to use a lot of force to manipulate through the birth canal, sometimes they do a C-section. They'll pick the baby up by his head, vacuums, forceps, etc. And then occasionally it has to do with the way the baby was sitting in utero, in a breech position, posterior position, transverse. So, and it's not just one thing. So a lot of people will ask, how did my spine get this way? But it's the accumulation of all the physical stresses that someone's had on their body up to that point. So
Right.
some of which might be positive, doing the Pilates and the workouts and the all the good stuff. But then you also add in A plus B plus C, all the physical injuries that have accumulated over a lifetime, and then the sum of that is where someone is at today.
Right. That
So
makes
kids,
sense.
yeah, so kids a lot of times, because of the fact that nerves in the neck control the ears, pressure there can a lot of times cause things like ear infections, ear pain, allergies. So there's a number of colic, constipation. There's a number of conditions that kids have that can be directly helped. But more importantly, it's about making sure the child's spine is developing and growing properly so they can be set up to have optimal health for life. Because the amount of energy that flows through the spinal cord out to the organs is directly proportional to the amount of health someone will experience over their lifetime.
So true. So true. So, do you have hope True Chiropractic will mean to the Gilbert community in the years ahead?
So, absolutely. So, my goal is for this clinic to be um, a source of light, right, in a world that has a lot of darkness and there's a lot of misconceptions. We have, we're being bombarded by the media and the pharmaceutical industry and all these special interests, and then even certain people within the healthcare community that maybe don't have everyone's best interests in mind, that are more driven by profits and so on. And so I want to try to help people navigate that. So I want to be a source of light and inspiration and empowerment to the people that want the message, that want the truth. Because my belief is that everybody fundamentally wants and needs the truth. And so what we have is the truth, and it's our purpose, it's our mission, it's our calling to deliver that as best we can.
Amazing. Amazing. I love that. So, what does the phrase make 2026 your healthiest year ever? What does that
Yeah,
mean to
so
you?
so that yeah, so we kind of have that on some of our um website. We have that kind of as as a mantra because it's really about taking responsibility and taking accountability now. Because the biggest problem to health is not actually ignorance. A lot of times it's just procrastination because
Right.
people
Yes.
often know something's wrong and they just, I'm going to do it next time. I'm going to do it next year. I'm going to do it when ABC lines up. And so procrastination is a silent killer. So
Right.
it means taking responsibility, accountability now, drawing that line in the sand and saying today's the day we're going to make the change.
Perfect. I love that. So, what do you think is the number one most important thing for people to understand about their health?
So yeah, if there was only one principle that I can impress upon the people that I meet and the people that I interact with, it's the fact that, and it's a natural truth, that the body is designed to express health. And so we're created as healing machines, and that's our natural state. And so when something is wrong with our health and our body's not expressing that as a natural state, the problem isn't a lack of pills or a lack of surgeries or procedures or anything else. The problem is that something has interfered with our body's natural expression of health. And so the key isn't adding more in, the key is subtracting the interference and letting our body function just the way God created it to function.
Exactly. I love that so much. That is a lot of what I teach in my coaching. Let's
Yeah.
remove some of those obstacles for you and let's help you, feel amazing again.
Yes.
So, how can someone reach you?
So, yeah, so very simply, we have a website. It's truechiropracticaz.com. So that's an option. Somebody could text or call us at the office. And so the number is 480 688 9016. or somebody can just drop on in and say hello. We could show them the office or tour the office. So we're located at 1422 West Warner Ave in the Islands Plaza here in Gilbert, Arizona. So we're kind of on the right on the border of Gilbert and Chandler. And so if anybody has questions, I'd love to talk. We do have one of our um, major initiatives to reach the community with our message is that we do have workshops happening regularly, both in and outside of the office. So we have a workshop coming up on Tuesday, July 28th. It's the Powers On, which I believe you might be a guest speaker at with us as well.
I would
But the
love to.
Powers On at 6 p.m. here in the office. It's all about energy, how to optimize energy, improve sleep, and we also have the secret to unlimited vitality, which we hold um, biweekly in our office as well too. And so that kind of explains a little bit. It explains number one how to avoid the top three killers of Americans in the U.S., how posture and health is connected. So it goes into a much deeper explanation, understanding of some of the things we talked about today, and then just how to tap into the source of health and life for a lifetime. So everyone's invited to those as well.
Those sound amazing. I can't wait to go to those events and learn more and be a support. I really appreciate all the work that you're doing in the community and for our family personally. Dr. Paul Battaglia, thank you so much for joining today and being a guest, my first guest on the new podcast,
My pleasure.
Beyond the Scale. I'm really excited about this new podcast. And I'm excited. You just had your grand opening, and
Yeah,
that was a fun, successful event. So
super
Dr.
fun.
Paul knows how to party. So you guys definitely make time to come down to his events and check him out and get your spine in check. Right? It's just an incredible feeling to feel good again. I mean, like I said, I'm already experiencing positive changes with seeing him such a short time. And I'm really excited to see, that, someday I might be actually migraine free. So I'm really excited to look to that future.
Yes, me too.
So thank you, Dr. Paul. It was so amazing to have you on today. And I'll be sharing all of the information down in the comments in the description of this video. And Dr. Paul, is there anything you wanted to say in closing today?
I don't think so. Thank you very much for coming on. What I could say is that even so, sometimes someone will say, "Well, if there's a problem, I don't really want to know," right? But it's always good if there's a problem. It's always good to know sooner than later, even if you don't do
Yes,
anything about it. But many times, just a couple postural exercises or a few adjustments can address small things. But even if someone has an issue that they're not ready to face, at least having a baseline measurement can be helpful over the long term. And then maybe there's nothing wrong at all, in which case you could put that concern or that unknown to rest. So everybody should have
100%.
their spine checked. Absolutely.
Right. Well, thanks again, Dr. Paul. I love that advice. It's definitely better to know in my book. I like to know ahead of time. I like to know the truth and what's going on. So that way I
Yeah.
can make an appropriate decision. Do I want to deal with this right now or do I not want to deal with this right now? At least you could decide, from there. So thanks again, Dr. Paul. It was great having you on today. And we'll see you, everyone, on the next podcast of the new Beyond the Scale podcast. So thanks for joining. Have a great day, everyone. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye.